Okay, this is the Marv 800 here,
This is 2980.
and we're here today to talk about our favorite cartoons of all time. Underdog,
Freddie Flintstone.
the Flintstones,
Yeah,
Smurfs,
Smurfs was a really underdog one.
Scooby-Doo. No, Underdog was its own cartoon about that dog, the mask.
Yeah, I know, but it's more
the
like
Smurfs. They're all from the 70s, them cartoons. Yeah, get over here. The Smurfs, the Simpsons. But I like Hey, Jason, I think you agree with me on this one. Yeah, SpongeBob's good. You know the one that you agree with me on cartoons is the earlier Simpson seasons are better.
Yeah,
The newer ones are kind of went downhill, but the earlier Simpson seasons. And I also really like Alf. Alf was actually a cartoon at one time. I know
Don't
there's a real
forget
show,
the
Alf,
Bugs
the
Bunny and
cartoon.
Tweety show. You
Yeah,
can't
Looney
forget that.
Tunes. Looney Tunes would be one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Can you think of some rare cartoons that people have forgotten about? What about Johnny Bravo? That's a forgotten cartoon. Remember that cartoon,
I
Johnny
watched
Bravo?
that. I watched that a couple nights ago on Teletoon, where he always goes spikes his hair up.
Yeah, that's a forgotten cartoon.
Yeah.
And what about Huckleberry Hound? That's a good 70s cartoon.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Where he always thought he was really tough, and the ladies kicked his ass at the end. Remember?
And I want to talk a little bit about, do you agree with me that the older cartoons are better? I don't like today's cartoons very much, do you? They're not that good anymore.
Yeah.
Cartoons suck now. I grew up with, like, the Saturday morning cartoons of the 80s. Those cartoons, you know, like, were better in the 80s and 90s than they are today.
Now the cartoons are just all, like, kid stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like,
remember Bobby's World from the 90s? That was a good cartoon. Howie Mandel did the voice for Bobby's World. I remember watching that. I was younger.
Yeah.
What other cartoons can we think of? Try to think of all the cartoons we can.
I'm trying to remember one. You know what was a good one?
Platypus.
Platypus, yeah.
Platypus was pretty good. Another cartoon.
Oh, Yogi Bear. Yogi Bear.
Yeah, Yogi Bear. Can't forget about Yogi. It's an all-time classic cartoon.
Yep.
What was that one that me and you used to like with the old man on it?
The old man?
Used to be a detective. Oh, I can't think of that old cartoon. I used to really love that cartoon, but I can't think of it right now.
Remember The Simpsons? Milhouse. Put those eyebrows down.
Yeah, we're not talking about. We already said The Simpsons. We're thinking about other cartoons. What was that cartoon from the 90s? I can't remember the name of it. Oh, Ren and Stimpy. You gotta have Ren and Stimpy in there. What was that one, Cow and Chicken? You remember that one, Cow and Chicken, that was on in the 90s? I don't know if you remember. It was on for a couple seasons.
Dog and Cat, remember?
Yeah, but there was one about the cow and the chicken, and I'm trying to remember what that cartoon was called.
Remember Cat and Dog or whatever, where they're both attached? One end's a dog and one end's a cat.
I never watched that cartoon. I think that was after my time, but
that was a long time ago, though.
I think that was a cartoon I never watched growing up, but I remember like a lot, like I said, the late 80s, early 90s cartoons.
Yeah.
My favorite cartoons of all time. Can you think of other cartoons? I want to at least make this a 5-minute video. It's only been about 3. Can you think of some other cartoons that we haven't said yet?
Oh, I'm just trying to think. Wait.
I bet your dad could think of some cartoons from when he was a kid, probably, that we haven't thought of yet.
Yeah, probably black and white cartoons, too.
What about, what was that cartoon you used to watch all the time on Teletoon a few years ago? Remember? I forget what it was called. Not Johnny Bravo, but the other cartoon you used to watch.
I don't know, I used to watch Futurama.
Yeah, Futurama's not too bad.
I like Family Guy, but I like South Park a lot, too.
I don't care for Family Guy too much. I think it's kind of stupid, but not big on Family Guy. American Dad's not too bad. What else? I'm trying to think of what else I had for cartoons.
There was a wrestling thing on last night, just to mention.
Oh, forgetting about wrestling, Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. How could you forget about that cartoon? Me being a big Hogan fan. Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling from the 80s. That was a good cartoon.
Yeah, there was a show on wrestling. It was like NXT or something.
Yeah,
it was like pros versus just like people starting wrestling.
Yeah. I don't watch much wrestling anymore, so I only watch the old school wrestling pretty well.
Yeah. The new one's kind of stupid.
I don't like the newer wrestling.
They take too much injuries.
No, I just don't like the newer wrestling. I'm old school when it comes to wrestling. I prefer the older stuff.
WCW.
Yeah, and stuff like that. The older stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, back to cartoons. We're getting off topic now for cartoons.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what other cartoons you like.
Tons of them. Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah. Do you remember Bob and Margaret? That was on for a short time in the 90s. Remember that cartoon, Bob and Margaret? I don't know. I think a lot of people forgot about that one. That was on quite a few years ago. What else for you?
Dang, if we might get off topic, I love All in the Family. If they made that into a cartoon, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, but they have never made that into a cartoon. Imagine Archie Bunker as a cartoon. That'd be pretty funny. Did we say the Flintstones already? I think
Yes.
the Jetsons. I forgot
Yeah,
about
the
them.
George Jetsons.
The Jetsons. The Jetsons. You gotta have the Jetsons. I forgot about the Jetsons. That's one of my favorite cartoons of all time.
The George Jetsons.
George
Jetson.
What about the Ghostbusters?
The Ghostbusters.
That was a cartoon at one time.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters was good.
Yeah.
And remember the Flintstone children? They made the Flintstones in the 80s into like the Flintstone children, like they were little kids. I remember watching that when I was a kid too, the Flintstone Kids, which was based on off the original series of the Flintstones, was pretty good too. I remember watching that when I was younger. And what else? The Pink Panther. I forgot about the Pink Panther. That's an all-time classic cartoon. Can't forget about the Pink Panther. Other ones can you think of for cartoons?
Yeah, they're taking my mind. Who would it be? There's so many different Looney Tunes cartoons.
I mean, Mary Melodies. It started off as Mary Melodies, I think, didn't it? Right? Then it went to Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of our favorite Mary Melody cartoons, let's talk about our favorite episode. This got to do with cartoons. Mine would be Rebel Rabbit. One where Bugs Bunny destroys America. That was pretty funny. It's a pretty funny cartoon. Another one would be Robin Hood Daffy, the one where Daffy Duck.
That was my favorite one. I had the storybook.
You know the one
where he turns into he's Robin Hood.
Yeah. And every time he gets hurt there, Porky Pig's laughing. You can see him laughing real hard every time.
Friar Tuck or something.
He's the Friar guy, Porky Pig on the episode.
Yeah.
And every time Daffy Duck gets hurt, you can really see him laughing. His belly's really jiggling up and down real fast when he's laughing.
Or remember when he hits the quarterstaff on the bridge and he flips over?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. What other ones are your favorite Mary Melody cartoons?
Oh, remember when the beanstalk grows and he climbs up and he goes into the giant's house?
Oh yeah.
Oh, remember when the Olympics come on in the desert? Remember when Coyote?
You like the Roadrunner and Coyote? Roadrunner episodes?
The storybook was named Wile E. Coyote and the Coyote Capers.
Jason, did you know that there was one called that one? Once there was the Wile E. Coyote was actually in with Bugs Bunny. He actually went with Bugs, not the Roadrunner, but Bugs was in it.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, I think I did.
They were in a couple cartoons there. It was mostly him and the Roadrunner, but Bugs Bunny was in a couple with Wile E. Coyote, I think.
Yeah.
So. Okay, now what other cartoons could we think of before we end this? We said South Park already, right?
Mm-hmm.
King of the Hill, I forgot about that one. King of the Hill is a good cartoon.
It's old, too.
I love that show, King of the Hill. Did you ever see the one? Did you ever see that King of the Hill episode where Hank kept getting all that porn in the mail? They kept sending him like DVDs and things. They tried to send it back to the post office, and they wouldn't take it. And that cop chased him down in the dump, and he slipped and fell, trying to get rid of the stuff. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite King of the Hill episodes.
Remember when Bobby turns into a Bible thumper?
Yeah.
I think he's like spinning around doing all the shit in the kitchen.
Yeah, that was funny. We still got a couple more minutes. I'll wait till 10. Okay. What other cartoons do we like? Let's see. Let me think. I know there's some we haven't said yet. Can you think of any from your generation, like some of the more ones when you were younger? Because you're a lot younger than I am, so. Can you think of any from that you used to watch that I didn't know about? Any cartoons?
There was something with like a blue thing, and I don't know what it was. It was like a blue monster.
Little Monsters, that was a good cartoon. Remember Little Monster?
Yeah, 7.
That was from the 80s. They made that into a cartoon.
Was it really from the 80s?
Yeah, I think they made it into a cartoon, I believe, at one time, if I'm correctly. I can't remember, but there was a cartoon called Little Monsters, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, I used to watch it.
What else? I'm trying to think if I can think of one more cartoon we haven't said yet. We said Underdog, didn't we, at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Can you think of one more cartoon before we go?
Oh, wait.
Oh, Beavis and Butthead. I almost forgot about Beavis and Butthead. That's pretty good. You ever seen Beavis and Butthead?
Dumpling. Beavis
and Butthead. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's a good cartoon. Anyways, this is the Marv 800.
This is 2980.
And that was us talking about cartoons. We're out. Peace.